So all there is what is. All there is this. There doesn't need to be anything else. There doesn't need to be anything added to this. There's just this. This is immediacy. This is aliveness. This is newness. This is everything. This is nothing. There's just what is. And there's something wonderful about that simplicity, about that simplicity. Something that can't be spoken of, something that is shockingly obvious, but that actually somehow is completely missed and constantly seems to be completely missed. So, considering that you are all veterans beyond veterans, I'm not going to talk a lot about that. But if possibly, and there's probably, I mean, if there are any questions about this, then, you know, we can talk about it. And if there's otherwise, if there's just anything to say or whatever, then let's talk.
Well, I had a feed on the Instagram. I had a non-duality thing came up. I don't know where it came from. Just appeared, and it was saying, which I haven't heard before, but it was saying the problem with the duality in the moment. People go to therapy. It's all very, very individualized. All this, and it said the thing you have to do. Of course, this is still dual, obviously. We have to look at the collective consciousness, and that takes you out of the individual dual state. Yeah. So I was quite interested in what.
Well, collective is still dual.
Yeah,
isn't
of
it?
course. But
so
someone's been thought, how can I be clever and get away from? Yeah. So the kind of we've got our individual things.
Yeah.
If we all kind of merge into a collective.
Yeah, it's instead of me, it's we.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly.
But it's still. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's lots of separate seeming individuals, but of course there can't be any individual.
Yes, it would say if we all are collectively unify as one. I don't know what the thing was.
Yeah.
And it was
But I mean, that's conceptually. I mean, that's for me. That's a great story, isn't it? If we all come together, then it will all be one.
And not two.
But we have to come together, and we have to put a lot of effort into coming together, because that's where it's at. Whereas this doesn't have any. Doesn't need anything.
Yeah, and oneness is something, isn't it? Like people talk about oneness a lot. I mean, it's a teaching, isn't it?
Exactly.
To be as one.
And
then that's still something.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But it seemed to make out that this was going to be the problem with why we are all at war and all that. You know, is that we're all acting individually. We just have to act as one conscious, collective, unifying.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
That can't even be put forward without say, and then we're now into time. Then you've got an answer. Yeah.
There was lots of stars bursting and university visuals.
It's that's the thing. I mean, this was always waiting for an explosion. This was always waiting for a huge
starburst.
Yeah, starburst. And then I was sitting next to her, and then it just went. So that's the thing. I mean, you know, it's not. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything dramatic. Well, I mean, who knows? It could be dramatic, but it doesn't. It's not anything that can be imagined, and it isn't for anybody. There's nobody that is for. Nobody that can claim it. So I mean, people want to make it into a thing, and then they have you can do lots. You can have a movie about it, and
I think it sometimes goes with character when there's
I think
when there's a lot of drama
totally.
around. I mean, I've heard such stories.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is connected.
Yeah.
With an outgoing or somebody who's quite dramatic, loves drama.
Yeah.
Not always though. I mean,
I
wouldn't generalise. Can't generalise with anything.
But I mean, you must have seen people coming through, and there's some people. It seems like there's certain characters that all the way through their life they're very dramatic people, and so then when this sort of falls away, it's a dramatic. And then there's other people which are just completely the opposite. They're just not,
So that would be something that just their character.
It's their character. Yeah, it's the character's way of kind of expressing something.
Oh God, I better leave the room now. As we know, was all stars, wasn't it, Claire? No, and then it appeared there was a contracting again, and then no idea, other than that, there was a cat by my side. Thank you, cat. So anything. But there was a bit of drama, but then, maybe there's a bit of drama in the character,
Yeah.
It's a touch.
It's like so many. It's the way that people tell their stories, isn't
Exactly.
it? People tell their stories in this really dramatic way, and it's like full of that. Or then they can tell the story, and it's like and it's almost like some very dramatic, actual dramatic thing actually happened, and it's almost flat.
Yeah.
And you're kind of expecting, well, what? But I think it's just different nervous system, just a different energy. It's never going to be the same. Different bodies.
But when you're talking about this set of a kind of expectation, then, isn't it? It's when,
Yeah. Exactly.
Looking out for something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the waiting game. Yeah.
I've randomly been listening to Eugene recently,
Yeah.
and I've not really heard much of his stuff, but someone randomly posted it in a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
It's quite, he's interesting. I just wondered what you...
Yeah, I mean, I first listened to Eugene early on.
Yeah.
And that was sort of, in a way, I could cotton on, I guess, to what Tony was talking about, because I'd heard Eugene before.
Yeah.
Is he current?
He's
old. He's quite old.
Well, he died in 2008.
Oh, right, okay.
So
he was,
Relatively current.
Yeah, relatively, yeah.
And when did Tony start communicating?
96.
Oh, right, so quite soon. Okay, before that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, the difficulties is that if there are people that are interested in non-duality, if you ask them to listen to Eugene Krishnamurti, it's almost impossible to understand.
Yeah,
And what Tony's expression is so simple and direct, relatively. It's much more clear, I would say. Eugene is also has, I think, is coming from that openness, but the way that he expresses it is very difficult.
The words are quite like...
People love that though, because they kind of have to work it out, or if it sounds it sounds complex, then it
Yeah.
must be worth,
Yes.
you know.
He's a
There's
philosopher.
a challenge to overcome.
Very intellectual, sort of philosophic person, Eugene, and extremely dramatic.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, that's
funny. Yeah.
dramatic with a cherry on top.
Was he the guy who used to throw people out of his meeting?
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah, or shout at them at least.
Okay.
He was absolutely,
Very challenging.
Yeah.
He did not take a light approach.
No.
Did
and very,
Yeah.
but he used to get people very extremely angry with him. He would come in and try to, at that time, he was kind of, it was a sort of, I mean, as Tony mentions, that this sort of period of time was sort of groundbreaking moment, really, when that had these kind of things had never been really expressed. So people were extremely upset, especially the ones that had been meditating for 30 years.
And then a sort of lovely jewel like compassion is nothing. That is very, very
Compassion.
compassion is nothing. Just kind of there's a flavour, isn't it, in that
People
yeah,
would really find that kind of difficult.
yeah,
So-
and but also like tender.
Yeah.
And he said this at the bit about, I think he says, all pleasure leads to pain. Have you heard him say that?
Yeah.
And then I thought about your
Yeah.
because your thing is like move towards pleasurable sensation.
Well, I mean, that expression really was was really when I was in a dualistic. The me was
State.
very present,
Yeah.
and I was trying to find a way to cure the body
Yeah.
because it's my job to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
feel better.
and it was interesting because I gave that to Tony. He had to look at it, and I think he read about half of it. He just said, very little of it, and he just said, "It's very interesting, but of course nobody's doing that." And it was very obvious. I mean, I knew that. I knew when I was writing it. I knew.
Yeah.
But it is reflected in the book. I think it's beautiful. We were saying on the way, I really enjoyed reading it. Yeah. So there's lots of references to Tony that kind of all the time say, and of course,
Yeah.
there is no,
it's still a sort of fudging it, of course, because that's what me has to do. It has to kind of find out, how to say something really important. because ultimately there's absolutely nothing important to say,
Coach journey later.
sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seriously committed.
Yeah. It's combined with it and stuff. So I say, I like
No.
But the point is that there is just a natural movement of the body towards pleasurable sensation, and movement towards pleasurable sensation is obviously something which allows the body to. It's how the body heals itself.
It's moving towards health.
It's moving towards health.
The
That's
body
essential.
will always
Will always do that.
and
It's instinct.
Yeah.
And any healer that when you're working with people, when they start to move towards what is pleasurable in front of you, or after the treatment or whatever it is, instinctively, they just move towards something which is healing the body, and the body just knows how to do that. So it moves away from pleasure, moves away from pain, goes towards pleasure. It's totally natural. Everything does that. Plants do that. It's the same.
There's an
But
Ostropath, I'd say
there's
ease.
nobody doing it. There's nothing that is there doing that because it's already everything. There's nothing that is necessary to do anything. There's nothing separate that can do something. So the whole idea that can be taught is ridiculous. So I'm ridiculing my own my own manuscript there, but that's fine, because it's not in a certain sense that it was still a seeking. All of those things are about seeking, and when there isn't a need for seeking anymore, there's just a relief from all of that trying to figure it out.
It's doing seeking beautifully, seeking. So I mean, it's no, and they're trying it kind of trying is trying beautifully.
Yeah, but I mean, at the time, it still feels like you're
getting somewhere.
Climbing up this side of them,
the
Everest or whatever. So but it's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, as osteopaths, we talk about the inherent healing mechanism in the body, and it'll always move towards health and ease. We don't use the word pleasure. It's more, you set a joint up, and kind of balance the tension around it, and the body will then just fall into a kind of an equilibrium, which feels more at ease. So and I think the mental health as well. It's all that the intention is always trying to. It's even suicide is an intention to reduce, to find some ease. It's just trying to reduce.
It's a reaching. For sure.
Yes, I mean, people. Suicide is a means of relief. It's a way out, isn't it?
Well, it's something that is that nobody does. I mean, there is. It's clearly the natural mechanism of the body when there is absolute duress and under complete contraction. There is a total desire for that to end. So that's totally understandable. Well, But I think, coming back to your point you were making about what Eugene was saying, I think that it's clear that what he was saying, that he was talking about something which was associated with a drive to get something. It's kind of a hedonism, like essentially the me takes hold of pleasure and says, this is mine, and I'm going to try to get it. And so it then goes off on a path of trying to get pleasure. It will never get pleasure. It can never get pleasure. It can never do that. So it keeps on trying to get more and more and more, and trying to doing that sort of thing, which is this pleasure seeking thing, and that is just pain. It's of course. People just go towards that full on, and it feels very painful in the end. So it's again just me going, I need to get this. Pleasure is the answer. That's the answer. If I can get that, then I'm going to get what I want, a bliss state. And this is nothing to do with bliss. This is completely neutral. This is just what is. There's just neutrality, unconditional neutrality, which is love, but not in the usual sense, I guess.
The Buddhists talk about Ananda, don't they? Bliss. It's kind of perpetual bliss state.
Yeah. It's
like another state, so that's the kind of ultimate.
There is only one state. The me is the only state. That's it. outside of that, and that's the wrong term because there isn't an outside, but outside of that, there's nothing. So that's the thing. Is that yes, you can do a lot with that state. There seems to be a lot that goes on in that state, different types of states that people get into, but it's a state. I mean, that's the thing with psychotropics. It's the same difficulty with psychotropics. It's the same because it's a state, and then the state changes, and then you can't hold on to it anymore, and then you have to have some more. We have to maintain it somehow. This doesn't require maintenance. That's no maintenance in me.
Wow.
That's
Because it's natural.
there isn't anything that doesn't require maintenance anymore. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like
Except the car occasionally.
the
garden. But,
even the car.
Yeah.
This doesn't need maintenance.
Because just everything's always natural reality, isn't it?
Everything's always is.
So it's, so it's
It doesn't. It's like
you popping up or
absolutely.
moving forward.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. It's like people's. I was asked last time in Brighton, why aren't you worried that this is sort of that the me's going to come back or something like this, So, but the thing is that this isn't the me is actually naturally fragile, and so it's always concerned about, oh, what happens if this goes on? What is just absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely everything. It's full and empty, but it's not. It's quite robust. That.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like this tentative thing. It's pretty robust, But I mean, for want of a better word, it's not. So it's actually the other way around. Is that the me is this tentative thing, and it's always kind of like a concern that it's just like gonna fall off the edge of a cliff, and and then it imagines that when that when that is gone, and there's this thing called non-duality, that must also be tentative and fragile, and it's a complete nonsense.
Yeah.
That's how it feels as a me, isn't it? You're constantly in a kind of feel like you're
Yes,
a
management.
knife edge, aren't you?
Yeah.
Of
Management. It's
Yeah.
constant management.
kind of blowing you one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're yeah.
What's going to hit me today? Oh,
Yeah. 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 And it's often the plan of what to do next. Whereas based on, past and, whereas there's just newness. Just newness. There's no future, no past, there's just this. And that's, that doesn't need any plan, or doesn't. Of course, there's plans that can happen in that, but it's not. It isn't. It doesn't need a story.
grappling with.
No, it's not. No, I mean, there's no one to do it.
I just asked her what's in here. She said gin.
Yeah.
I don't know, water.
Me, it's kind of constantly managing situations, and it always says there's a kind of
Yeah.
management going on,
Yeah.
getting through the day. How do I manage this? How do I manage that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Getting it right, in the best way.
Yeah.
Managing that situation, that person, that symptom, that
yeah. It's all on my shoulders. It's my responsibility. I mean, that's a constant theme, isn't it? It's like being responsible. Yeah, it's that, that's people live a lot of their lives, so-called lives, seeming lives, in that supposed responsibility.
lots of roles.
Yeah, in the story of story of responsibility. But it's all just an appearance. It's all just there's nothing that can create responsibility. There's no one to form responsibility. But that is the contraction just gets trained, in seemingly when you're young, that this is everybody's got a job, everybody's got a reason to be here, a role that you have to fulfill. Absolute nonsense. I mean,
And that's the criticism, isn't it? The message is it's irresponsible because it making people
yeah, but
take responsibility for their actions and
the kind of innocent arrogance of that there should be a set of rules that everybody should live by, and that is the way that things should be like that. All the me, trying to control everything, trying the me in there trying to go, oh yeah, this needs to be sorted out. But that's just the voice of me. The voice of me is expressing it like that. It's just going, like this. That's the contraction. The voice of the contraction is expressing that. Apparently, it's the voice. It's a quality of contraction that is sort of like that's the purging, the purge of the voice of the contraction. It just constantly is purging that kind of thing. Rules, domination, trying, attempting to control. That's what it does. It's just this constantly that.
because it feels fragile.
That's all. It's just. It's just. Yeah. There's a sense of a vulnerability. Yeah. Because there's a sense of separation. That separateness induces the domino effect of that in a way. Apparent domino effect. Yeah.
And also so often a longing actually to be unconditional love. That feeling
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
can I be responsible? Because that is the highest expressive of this thing called love, when,
yeah,
you know, it's just an overlay, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
You've got that overlay of, and yet so very tender in some sort of way. It's always a response to, actually, as you were saying, it's like going towards, thinking you've got to go towards to
yeah,
be loving
yes.
like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unconditional love is it assumed to be something
Yeah.
that you can get
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
and someone to go and get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's always this
Mm.
until it isn't, and then it's over. So that, I mean, that's the story of me. I mean, me doesn't know what it's looking for. It has no idea. It doesn't have. There's no sense that it has any. It's just seeking. Just seeks. Seek. That's the energy. It seeks. There's nothing. There's no mind in there, intelligence thing that's doing something, or that's really, getting a grip on something. There's no possibility of it. It's just a mechanism, an apparent mechanism, a seeming mechanism, energetic contraction. That's it. And that's it. And not even stable. It's not. It's constant fluctuation. So it's really nothing. Of course. Yeah.
So it has an idea of what it wants, and then
Well, but it
gets
changes.
there, and then that.
I mean, it's constantly looking for. I like this metaphor, but it's constantly looking for a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, when all there is gold. So the constant seeking like that. It's just amazing for no one.
So it's kind of seeking the end of seeking.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It only imagines that. It only imagines that, what that pot of gold is. That's the end of seeking. It's it's a pot of gold. Yeah, I know exactly what that looks like. It's like that. I know I've got a complete clear picture of what that looks like. But it's just an illusion. I mean, me is illusory. All there is what is. What is appearing to happen. And it isn't happening because there's no time. So there's nothing happening.
can be very difficult, can't it, for people?
Yeah.
Really difficult.
Yeah.
Do you think? I don't know. I think that somewhere the people who come to these meetings or this non-duality meetings, you think there's already a sense of that.
Yeah. Oh, you do, as you
Because it's so off the wall.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh,
You know, for people, for many people, it just sounds like crazy.
There's nothing happening.
I think it's
That nothing
That's
is
what you just said. Yeah, nothing. There's nothing. Comes down to nothing happening.
nothing happening.
Right. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's so much of that is just the end of time is just so unconceivable for me that it's just it cannot grasp that at all. And I mean,
no, I just wondered. I wonder sometimes whether there is a sense.
I think
a sense of something. I think in everybody, but it's
yeah.
everybody is it and knows this. But sometimes it's more. There's a more. It seems to be more open. Nobody's open, but it.
No, totally.
There is
I think I can. A few days ago, I came up talking to somebody about this, and we were talking about it, and then I've just actually seen at the back. There's one there, but it's an elephant's graveyard. That's what meetings are.
Yeah.
There's a drawer, totally instinctive. There's no sense of there being any. People say, "Oh, I didn't want to come to a meeting," whilst they're in the meeting. They sit there and they say, "I didn't want to come here." Why am I here?
Yeah.
Or there's as if there's any control in any of that stuff. There's no possibility of any. So there's this, but this elephant graveyard thing is quite interesting because these elephants come. There's no a sense why. And there's a sense of falling something. It's a metaphor, but it's the energy. It's energetic. It's instinctive. It's not something that, as you say, it's an instinctive pull, and that it's known. There's a known sense, and I think that there's the people that come have got a sort of sensitivity to. There's a sensitivity that not everybody. In the apparent world seems to have. They don't seem to have. Not everybody is interested in this message. Amazing, but But it's it does seem to be.
Yeah, because the idea of time not existing for me is so.
That's it. Yeah.
It's like.
It's really no dimension, isn't it? Me lives in.
Yeah. Me is story. Me is the story. Me is time.
Yeah.
It is time.
Yeah.
So to say that there's no time is to say that there's no me.
Yeah. And yet in language, there's a working with words that happens here all the time. There we go. But there's so many phrases that are said so glibly, which says, in no time at all, we'll be there without a second's thought. There's loads of little phrases that, I've got no choice. No, you haven't got any choice. All these common phrases that are so bandied about without any thinking, and yet it's in your face. It's absolutely in your face. And there's just a list has started of all these phrases where English is amazing, saying, really, all kinds of little everyday phrases that just, oh my golly, when it's not a when, but they're just peppered throughout.
Yeah,
absolutely, and they're not heard or not. Even a great astrologer who says it in one breath, and of course there is no time. Whoa, that's going to be the end of my job. And next month's full moon. And it's lovely, amazing, because, I'll just skip over the fact that there is actually no time. Whoa, far too scary. But let's all focus on 2 weeks' time, just bonkers and hilarious, really.
Yeah.
But not if you're stuck in a hamster wheel or yeah, absolutely. So we'll be hearing them all the time now. All the no time. Yeah.
It's obvious.
Mm.
It's obvious, but it's an obvious that is kind of put, under the carpets, because it's
Yeah.
How do you talk about it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just put it under there because
Yeah.
it's just not. Let's not engage with that. Yeah.
In some ancient traditions or indigenous traditions, they say time is like circular.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? What does that mean? It's just like there isn't. You said there isn't any time, but what do you think they're getting at when they say?
Well, I mean, me has this thing of doing things in circles in a way, because it's a point on a circle, so it's always it's always going to kind of, usually it's a spiral actually.
Spiral, that's what they say.
Just,
Yeah.
Carrying on. But yeah, I mean that is the me attempting at continuousness to continue itself. It's constantly. There can't be an end. There has to just be continuity.
Rebirthing.
Yeah.
Karma, connection. Keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
So heavy. It's heavy, man. That's really heavy. It's such a heavy, carrying all of that generation after generation, and it's very, it's very, it's dusty. The energy of that. Historic. It's history. History is important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah. Responsibility, history, all goes together.
Keeping it going, making it better.
Yeah.
Looking back.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Always. Yeah, and that is something that Eugene did say. I like that quote. He says, "I have absolutely no respect for any aspect of human culture." Yeah, that's great. That I like things like that. But it's an interesting thing because it's like, why do we need to be very, austere about these things? That's the irreverence, and Tony's irreverence, magical irreverence. It's that real. What all there is this. So, fuck it. Fuck all that. It's ridiculous. It's just. I mean. It's just the end of the road, it's the end of the the churning of this continuum.
Grabbing onto significant things.
Supposed to
then
be
you can
significant.
Oh yes,
apparently
the symbols. Oh, that was an interesting phase, wasn't it, Mrs. P? The symbols, symbolism. Oh, the squirrel. Well, that's the symbol this morning that I've woke up. Clearly, a lot of wealth is going to be coming my way. I've got to gather. Yeah. Oh, and now there's a snake. Oh, a slow one. Slow. Better take it slow. A whole world created on the symbolism, and then there's just a squirrel.
Yeah, with no meaning
Funny.
purpose
Yes,
whatsoever.
no,
And just
swirling away.
And
Yeah, it's just so funny.
then there's wonder.
Yeah.
That's wonder. That's the squirrel without any of that shit is wonder. Yeah. Yeah, just it's naked. It's a nakedness. This is naked in a certain sense. It's a sort of nakedness. Yeah.
And it was also what it appeared to be
Yeah.
at the time, and was quite, in its own peculiar way, there was an enjoying, and maybe I don't know if that would be the same for any apparent individual, but there's a sort of enjoying of the story as well, of that, a kind of pleasure in that whole, that means that means that means. Yeah, it's all part.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like, and maybe there was a part that's like, yeah, there's a bit fun here, but not taking it too serious. But there's a kind of, I don't know, even a resonance and like, woo, the unknown. I can't even articulate it, but a kind of mystery about it that almost is thinks it's nearly there, because it is just absorbing nature in the wonder of nature, and then it's overlaid with the symbolism. I don't know if that makes sense in a way, but
I used to, Chinese medicine, Chinese philosophy has got a lot of that in it. It's a sort of, in a way, it's more to do with the energetics of things.
Yeah.
It's a sort of, in a way, but symbolism relates to that sort of thing as well. There's a relation.
Yeah, energy is a good word there.
But I think a lot of the time, and this is what you constantly get with looking at all of that stuff, is that you can constantly see that it's frantic.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, we've got to get everything under this banner, because if there's one thing that's missing, then the whole theory doesn't work. So there's a kind of franticness about trying to manage everything, and trying to make sure that it all gets held under something.
Absolutely, you've done all the animals, and then blooming heck, here's a hogweed. What does that mean? Oh God! And you suddenly find that the whole world is crowding in with all these symbols, and there's total confusion.
Absolutely.
Because where is the message in that? Actually, there was no message. There was no message whatsoever. It's bonkers, really, but hey ho. Sending stuff up, but that's exactly.
The wonder is that there's no meaning or purpose. That's what a relief. I think that this is the best word for what is relief. It's just relief from all of that. For no one, but it's a relief that there's a sense of the absence of that thing that was going, I've got to figure it all out. The absence of that is, thank God for that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful word for that, that, yeah.
He doesn't come into it. But yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
What I missed that.
I've just got that's another absurdity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
What about there?
Hang on.
Would you say kind of there aren't any dimensions at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And time being one, but obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's the thing, is if you have time, then you have space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then space definitely has lots of dimensions.
Mm.
You know, and then you've got, you know,
It's like a model.
multiple universes, and you can go off into all of that stuff.
Mm.
But it's just I mean, all of those are clearly stories. I mean, quantum physics is just literally a storytelling exercise.
Mm.
I mean, there's no knowing of any of it.
It just doesn't end, does it? Because I mean, with dimensions, I mean, just because we live in this, Amelia lives in this, with these dimensions, it's that thing of, you know, if you're a piece of paper in 2D, you can't imagine, you know, you've got 3 dimension coming down, you can't imagine that if you're just on the paper, if you're just a 2D piece of paper, you can't. Then that's the case, then there could be an infinite number of dimensions. So it just kind of doesn't, in the end, it doesn't make sense, the whole dimension idea,
Yeah.
dimension model.
I mean, there's I think that, well, this has no interest in any of it. There's a sort of there's a sort of complete lack of it's irrelevant. Time is irrelevant, space is irrelevant, and yet people can, you know, it would be very natural perhaps for somebody to draw something in 3 dimensions. No problem, it could be done, but there would be no sense of distance at all. There would be no sense of any of that at all, because it's completely irrelevant. It doesn't, there isn't the one that wants to understand what the distance is from this center to something else is the one that's trying to seek what the other thing is. It's subject and object. It's trying to find out what that object is. So it gives it all kinds of things, dimensions, you know, time to get there. You know, it produces all of these parameters. But what is has got no. I mean, you know, ask a dog about time or space, or a baby about time. There's no understanding about any of that. It doesn't. There's no necessity for it. There's a complete ability for cats, and you know, to know exactly where that bird is that it's going to strike at, without having any understanding of time or space whatsoever. It's perfect, and in a certain sense, because there is no one, it's much more spontaneous. There's more. It's just spontaneous. there's no gap. Me is the sort of, in a certain sense,
Gap maker.
is a gap. Yeah, mind the gap kind of thing. Yeah. I said I did, well, there was one time when I spoke to Tony in a meeting, and I came up to him and I said, "What's going on there is really it's quite fast, isn't it?" And he said, "Over here, it's like lightning. Over there, it's like clods of earth." I mean, just trying, you know. It's very fun, but it's just spontaneity without there being anything blocking it, you know.
So I am looking at those curtains, and I'm trying to. It's like for me, it's kind of wanting to place them in time. You want to place things, don't you? Somehow.
Yeah,
As if
well,
it's-
yeah,
You can't. I mean, you know, I'm finding it quite difficult to
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Whereas that's what the
Well, it's quite. I mean, yeah, it's a.
house
Yeah.
that was built. I'm trying to place it
I
100
see.
years ago, or there's that. Actually, that's
Well, there can be so that there can be that knowledge in a way of something, apparent knowledge of something, but then at the same time, there's also a sense that it's completely unknowable. What is being seen is impossible to know. That there's nothing that can be known. So it's there's a sense that one can look at a clock, and it's just an unknowable thing, and yet the time can be told. You can tell the time. It's just a mechanism, a sort of a muscle memory of knowing what that means, or knowing what that these come from 1970s or whatever, or whatever it is, you know. It's just, that's a muscle memory, but there's also recognition that it's completely unknowable. I mean, all what humans call knowledge is just it's just a muscle memory. And there's, of course, therefore, you know, this idea of kind of claiming knowledge, you know, which just, you know, people who have got loads of knowledge about whatever subject it is. It's just that there's a repetition that's happened, seems to have happened, repetition of this over and over and over again, until it becomes automatic. That's it. That's the whole of knowledge, and just automatic response. It's like a monkey, you know, you're playing a particular game, or, you know, whatever it is, or, you know, teaching a dog a trick. It's the same thing. But that is considered very, very highly for me. So that is, oh, that's the knowledge. That's what it's all about. It's knowledge is power. You know, so you know, but actually it's just you know, glorified trick, or glorified game that's going on, you know, because that's what seems to be happening with humans. They get into that game early on, and the me
accumulation.
Yeah, and the me state claims all of that, says this is mine, this is my knowledge.
I've accumulated over
A lifetime, yeah. And it's interesting that people will say, you know, if you've got 2 or 3 people in a room that have each done something for a long time, they say that we've got 60 years of accumulated knowledge. I mean, Jesus, yeah, but yeah, it's just a story. The whole thing is a story.
It sounds ridiculous, but you know, you're saying it.
Yeah, because all there is this. So there's no. I mean, all knowledge. What's that? I mean, it's just this.
Yeah.
So I mean, it all has to fall. You know, that's just the trappings of the rich man. You know.
Well, AI is, you know, demolishing it second by second, apparently, in this story.
Yeah, absolutely, great.
Well, yeah. What a loosening.
Yeah.
No wonder everyone's so scared. You know, yeah.
Well, I mean, quite a relief, actually. I mean, if AI is going to do it, I don't bloody need to, so that's good. So, but I mean, it was inevitable, wasn't it? You know, that we'd get to a point where we didn't have the capacity anymore.
thinking of, you know, music and improvisation things. That seems to just come up from nowhere, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that improvisation type
Yeah,
music
yeah,
where you're not
absolutely.
reading anything. That's just kind of.
It's, I mean, music is, well, I mean, it can be anything, but I mean, music is particularly spontaneous in a way. It's sort of absolutely immediate. It's just, what, you know, that
Response.
the response,
Yeah.
Especially, you know, that sort of, you know, in jazz.
Yeah, and improvisation, yeah.
Yeah, there's just, you know, everybody playing, you know, and that sort of, and nobody playing. Just, yeah.
Yeah, just earlier I was trying to explain to somebody who doesn't come to these meetings where I was going, you know, get my version of it. And they said, oh yeah, it's like you should, it sounds similar to improv acting, where like there's like a sense of immediacy in that, where they're just there's like all they can say is yes, and you just got to it's like whatever comes up in the moment or whatever, it's just it's that it is, isn't it, though? It's that sort of like,
I spoke to an actor recently. He said he said that there was there had been several glimpses when he was acting. It was just in totally spontaneous. Just something was just expressive
coming out.
Nobody doing anything.
And it's weird because they're playing the story, but it's still but they're in it's
Well, there you go. Exactly. I mean, the point being is the story doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that you know. There's just what is. And then even being an actor with lines that are learned or whatever, there can also be just a kind of expression of that just immediately. There's no, I mean, that's the thing. There's no parameters. It's just what seems to happen.
And after these meetings, I remember Tony's last meeting, there is, for me, like this sense of immediacy, everything's just like softer in a way. But do you remember when there was something going on like that, and we spoke on the phone, and I think I asked you, is this it? Or something like that, because, and then you said, oh, well, there wouldn't be, who's asking the question? Or you said something like that. And I was like, oh. And I was like, David, you big loser, but in those, but like, I think what I was trying to say is that, I don't know, the word ordinary doesn't quite do it, but in those, like, but it's that sort of,
no, you're right.
It's like, I think it's what you were saying. It's not like this explosive, crazy, like whatever it is. It's just this, like, rawness or like what?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But then, but then it just seems, I don't know. I feel like in my life things have like unravelled anyway. But then I don't know. I just find myself sort of then going into like analysis mode, and then it just thought, do you know what? And there's just
Well, I mean, the good thing is that it's nothing to do with you. So you know that it's it's just, that's it. It's what seems to be happening, and there's nothing to do.
There are many situations where you can be sat in a group of people when you're not meditating.
Yeah.
In just like silence, without anything to do,
Right.
or like just
Amazing, isn't it?
it's just it's so normal, like that natural, but it's just like it's just like you just don't get to do it.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're like
That's totally.
Yeah.
Why is there's no there's no sort of show,
yeah.
you know, like needing to sort of entertain each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And things just pop up, and and then there's other things to look at here.
Yeah.
Just point out the obvious, you know, just say what you see. Yeah.
That's exactly that. A bunch of cats, really.
And just whatever it is.
Articulation, stretch. You know what a fantastic word. Doing that, you probably know that way, or if you do, of where you stretch. And I've never heard across it where you stretch like a cat stretches, and it contracts and stretches at the same time. So beautiful. I love that word. It's going in a poetry for sure.
Say it again.
Pandiculation. Yeah? Is that right? Yeah.
What is it?
Pandiculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, aching to rhyme with something, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Lovely. Beautiful. Ooh.
But the recording, really just advice, or would you just what do you do with the long periods of silence in a recording?
If they're in between different sections, then I usually leave them. I leave them in.
Yeah,
But if it's just starting with silence, then I usually cut it out.
yeah.
I generally just do it raw,
Yeah, just leave it.
Just
Yeah.
leave it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all of it, but somehow silence is quite beautiful.
And there's the music with the tube and
The announcement that
it's that dum, dum.
and the plane that flies across every now and again.
Amazing every minute. Yeah.
Once you just remember you describing it as and you said that you didn't celebrate Christmas growing up, but that sense that you get on Christmas Eve
Yeah,
when there's like all the presents are wrapped and the trees done,
yeah,
and like there's a sense of stillness,
Yeah.
but like
exactly.
the fullness as well. I mean, yeah, it's
Impregnated, isn't it? Somehow.
Yeah,
It's that
love.
anticipation.
Beautiful, that
Yeah.
Christmassy.
yeah,
Everything is Christmassy.
Yeah, yeah,
It's Christmas.
yeah.
And I think that's why Tony always says cheers by saying Merry Christmas.
Does he?
Doesn't matter what it is.
Does he really? I get that same feeling when I'm at it's a bit different, but at a red light, and you're is this like a not quite readiness, but when there's like
Your sports car, you read.
not my sports car, but it's just like everything's just like not switched off. I don't know. The same sort of
Yeah.
I'm always hoping for a red light, isn't it? I think that's so awful. Just like, it's green, yeah. Oh, turn red, turn red. Just, I know. But then it's like, yeah. Probably some conditioning there with meditative practices, I have a feeling. And the children and the Buddhist way. Yeah. Still lingering there somewhere in the character, like, now you can pause. Except it's all a pause,
Right.
in a way, isn't it? Oh.
Yes, there's just no waiting, is there?
No.
No.
No one to wait.
Mm. Mm.
And we see waiting as a kind of waste of time, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
I mean, that's the thing about me is always quite gets bored easily because it's looking for the next something else. It's looking for something else.
so not doing is a kind of wasted opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Oh well,
You're
what
not-
the hell? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Why the hell would I not do anything? I mean,
Yeah.
should
trying to
get
sort
somewhere.
things out.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the thing. I mean,
Mm.
you know, there's a lot of animals that just stay like that.
Mm.
You know, it's just you know, different kinds of animals. You know. There's because there's no, you know, there's no time. Yeah, there's absolutely no time. What is there possibly that could be waited for? I mean, there's already this. I mean, you know.
It's my dog at home waiting for my daughter to turn up. Worried about my dog.
Yeah, yeah.
He'll just be sleeping or whatever, won't he?
Doing around.
Might be a bit of hunger, but
I think that's the funny thing is that a lot of the time it's the owner that needs the animal. It's not the other. You know what I mean? Is the owner needs to engage with it. Of course, I know the practicalities, but it's the owner needs the so-called owner feels that the animal is really desperately needs their help and guidance in life and all the rest of it. It's just completely opposite. You know, there's no requirement.
Also, there may be demands.
Yeah.
Serious demanding can happen. Yeah. Lots of animals.
You've got lots of animals.
No,
Oh.
no.
you know, hunger. Yeah, they need
Yeah.
hungry, don't they? Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of you can't see it, do you? But one of those trees is just dancing so differently from all the others. The one on the right, there's a,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's just, the others are just like, yeah, dancing like, there's one that's not like, oh, it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing. It's just, yeah. It's kind of got its completely different rhythm. And it's beautiful, really beautiful.
It's lower, the one that's
Yeah,
lower.
it's might be a birch. If you want to try and do a name, but
Is it in that direction?
I'm looking that direction. That one that's above the beach.
Yeah. Above the
Above
purple
it,
one.
yeah, above the purple.
That does look like a birch.
Yeah. Now you see, there you go. Stop now.
These are huge, these ones.
Yeah, amazing.
Plane tree.
Oh,
So we'll get a plane tree.
Probably. London's full of them. It's all going on. Aeroplanes, trains.
It's
yeah.
good. It's like
Yes.
it's like TV, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh no, much better. Nice. Okay.
How's your view? You don't get to see
It's
that.
awesome. I get it.
You had to say that, didn't you?
You make dance.
Exactly. Otherwise, Cloud would had you.
Nice, lovely. Thanks,
do you ever have a bucket list? Just out of curiosity. You know, where you wanted to like visit things and do things and
I mean, I had a bucket with a list with a hole in the bucket.
yeah.
So it just kept on going, you know, I just kept on putting more things in there and more things in there and more things in there. So yeah, I had the longest bucket list ever,
Yeah.
basically.
No, it's just gone.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to do. Well, I mean, there's nobody, you know, I mean, there's still things that I might like to go and see or whatever, but it doesn't have the same twang to it
Yeah.
because it's not, I was literally going all over the world in order to find something
Yeah.
on a physical level. I mean, some people do it, you know, you can go inwards and that, of course, I tried that as well, but then I just kind of thought, no, I'll just go. I know it's on the other side of the mountain somewhere, so I just travelled to different. But at the same time as knowing that it's not on the other side of the mountain, you know it isn't on the other side of the mountain at the same time before you've done it.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, you know, just are there some countries that you want to visit now? And you know, just to.
I mean, I don't have that. I did a lot of travelling overall, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind anymore. Sometimes I need to travel for the work or whatever, but it's not like an imperative thing. And there's there was always a sort of desire to sort of find a home. I need to find a home. It's really important, you know, this kind of thing. And then you kind of realise, well, actually, I don't know, I don't think it's important at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is home.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was the biggie. That was absolutely the overriding thing here. Was, you know, when I settled down. Once I found home.
Yeah.
And then suddenly.
Yeah.
And then suddenly.
There are some people who just naturally move around.
Yeah, and
or
yet,
just can't, or just haven't, you know, there hasn't been that kind of. What's wrong with that? There's nothing, you know.
and yet there can still be a desire to certainly settle in a way. You know that.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
But it's not. Yeah.
But it's not going. You know,
to get somewhere. And
it's not in order to. It hasn't got that. And then afterwards.
Yeah. Well, it's not home anymore.
No.
You're not looking for home.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Usually, you might find a place that you stay for a while.
Yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with home. This is home.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you got a bucket list?
No. Have I got a bucket list? No. I feel like there are things. Not really.
No.
Not really.
I like travelling. I like it. I enjoy going to visiting places.
Yeah. I want to go to Japan. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, but.
I mean, I get drawn towards the places where this body feels good.
Yeah.
So generally warm.
Yeah.
With, you know, people that I love and around, you know, people I really like, you know, that's it. These kind of combinations of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think it's more to do with energetic preference. You know, that kind of thing. And if that seems to happen, then so be it. And if all doesn't seem to happen, then it also that's what it is. You know, it's not the be all and end all. You know, so all of those sort of, you know, ultimatum kind of things, or sort of you know, end of the rainbow kind of things. No.
Before I die, I must.
Yeah. Legacy, as well. It's another.
Yeah.
I think this was very or the me was very sort of concerned about knowledge, and concerned about really, getting to the root of something. That was my thing. I've got to get to the heart of that. I've got to find what it's all about, that sort of thing. So that would take me to in extreme lengths in order to kind of try to decipher that or figure that out. Which, well, you know about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, and I think that all of that just it's hugely energy consuming,
Yeah.
very inefficient.
Yeah. There is, I feel, with your body, like something there that is quite like naturally analytical. And,
still,
like
we still do,
yeah.
I can still do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like I mean, I still work in that area where talking to people about their health and things like that, and it's an interesting thing that because it is an automatic muscle memory that seems to go on. But I think that this has a sort of interest in that. There's a sort of like, it's sort of like a puzzle. It's like a detective story, and there's something about that which is interesting.
And you also read new books on it potentially.
Maybe
You're not trying to get to kind of feel I must know, just out of kind of just the interest.
There is there's certain things. It's a kind of sense now where there's certain things where sort of my ears prick up about something, but it's very often about how the body's naturally doing something and there's no requirement for intervention. It's actually just, it sort of associates more like that. It's just sort of like that kind of thing. So there's a quite a famous dentist, Dr. Ellie Phillips, that talks about, the way that the mouth heals, and I became quite interested in that. It's suddenly, yeah, she's working with understanding that how the body just naturally heals difficulties, which in dentistry is always about, no, the body doesn't know what it's doing. We need to intervene here, and that's what everybody gets drilled into.
No, it's like Danish lady too, daughter, breed guard, same, just same.
Yeah.
No, because she started as a dentist and now she's thought, what's happening here?
Yeah.
It's kind of.
But these sort of people where there's a sort of recognition. I mean, Stills is another one. Where there's this recognition that there's something else going on, and that it's not all black and white. And that sort of like, there's a sort of resonance, is all I can say.
Yeah.
That's just the natural intelligence that's going
Absolutely.
on.
Yeah.
And it's highly complex as well.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
highly
Yeah.
But it's just going on.
It's just going on. Yeah. Just going on. And I think that those people that are sort of involved in therapeutics that sort of have a sense of that, just in a way are very often just kind of coming back, not intervening, as and getting involved in something, because it's just like, well, why would you do that?
making a suggestion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how I feel myself. Like,
Well, instinctively, instinctively, it's just energetic. It's just just something that seems to happen there. There's, numbness and response. It's just that sort of thing. Nobody's doing that. Or whatever, it doesn't have to be numbness, but it's a response.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was doing anesthesia, like in the emergency situations, I used to get anxious about thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do in that emergency situation? How am I going to respond? Will I remember what to do? Will I? And then it's just in that moment when it happens, like you just do it, and there's no thought about it. And afterwards, you're like, cool, that happened. Well, I don't know, and you recall, obviously somehow you're recalling knowledge and that, or like something's happening that I don't quite know what's happening at that moment, but
well, nothing. I think that there's absolutely. There's no time.
Yeah.
There's no time. If you're not responding immediately, there's no time. It's just this is the thing. A lot, things go. There's a huge amount that goes on without me, having any sense of it. It's just out the window. So
There was that, remember at Buckland, there was that eye surgeon, that Swiss eye surgeon. What was his name?
Guy used to come to.
Yeah, to Buckland. He used to do the most incredible eye surgery, Yes, he was kind of in and out. It was always his best work.
It's not,
Yeah.
He wasn't independent.
Yeah.
What was his name? God.
Yeah.
Good job. In a sense, that's what's happening anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
It's just a claim. All of these things are just claimed by me. He just claims that, that happened. Oh, that was good. I'll have that. And then then even if it's bad, then it's also claimed. Oh shit, that was that. Then you get the credits and the debits. And everything is like that. It's kind of like a thing. So yeah. I in a way, I kind of make it out that the me has some sort of personality or something that can claim something. Of course, that it cannot. That it is just a mechanism. It's just an energetic mechanism. So it just grasps hold of everything. It's. I like that Tony used to call it sticky bung. It just sticks to everything. Stick. Yeah. It's just like that. And that makes sense to me, expressing what is what's going on. It's sticky and creates a story out of everything. But that's completely natural. For me, is just naturally me, apparently.
Yeah, we just think it's wrong, don't we, somehow, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's because there's a tension. We don't want it, but you know, there's some the tension that the body just doesn't want. You know, but it's what is. You know, if you had you know, if you had flu, you'd say a lot of people say the flu is bad. They hate the or because it's horrible.
Doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good at all. You know, it feels awful. But there's nothing inherently wrong with viruses.